Make we join our hearts to build a nation of our dream. Citizen FM. Citizen FM.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
The time is 6 o'clock. Welcome to Citizen FM News. And now the first highlights. Federal High Court convicts Director General of Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council for money laundering. INEC insists BVAS technology is fraud-proof. Sudanese security forces dispersed protesters in Khartoum. And now the detail. A federal high court in Abuja has found Dr. Doyin Okupe guilty of receiving over 200 million naira cash from former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki and also sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment. Delivering judgment on Monday, Justice Ojukwu held that the action of Okupe, who is the first defendant in the suit filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, violated the Money Laundering Act, while stating that the Act provides that no individual or organization shall receive any sum above 5,000 naira and 5 million naira and 10 million naira respectively without passing through a financial institution. The judge held that there is no evidence that the money passed through a financial institution. According to Justice Ojukwu, the NSA was not a financial institution, adding that even if the president was said to have authorized the funds, he did not say that the money must be paid in cash, and that is in violation of money laundering. The judge, however, found the defendants not guilty in counts 1 to 33 on the grounds that the prosecution failed to establish the charge of money laundering and criminal breach of trust and corruption against the NSA, that is a national security advisor. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says politicians cannot bypass the bimodal voter registration system technology by purchase of permanent voters' cards. INEC National Commissioner Festus Okoye described the alleged plans by politicians to manipulate the 2023 elections as effort in futility. He said BVAS will be used for the accreditation and authentication of voters come 2023, and it will not reject, or it will reject, biometric data of persons who are not original owners of the traded PVCs. Recall that the Northern Elders Forum and the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Group, SERAP, had alleged that politicians are buying PVCs from poor voters to manipulate the next elections. The Central Bank of Nigeria says its current cash withdrawal limit policy will help in tracking electronic fraud. CBN Director of Payment System Management Department, Musa Jimo, made this known in Lagos. He also disclosed that as electronic payments continue to gain traction, fraudulent transactions in 2022 reduced by 35%. And speaking at the Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum meeting, Jimo said the new policy would prevent criminals from defrauding innocent people because of the withdrawal limits, which would automatically trace and block such compromised accounts before the money is legally withdrawn. Cooking Gas Consumers Association of Nigeria has appealed to the relevant authorities to incorporate more qualified liquefied petroleum gas marketers to enable cooking gas consumers to have a more cheap and affordable commodity in their various homes. The National President, Cooking Gas Consumers Association of Nigeria, Dr. Hakeem Olajide, who made the appeal in a statement, said the call became necessary following the shrouded process of selecting who qualifies as an off-takers by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas. The group stated that the agency had been accused by some industry players of high-level favoritism in the manner they select off-takers, who were mostly individuals without the requisite qualifications. And now to stories on the foreign scene. Sudanese security forces used stun grenades and tear gas on Monday to disperse crowds of protesters rallying in Khartoum on the 4th anniversary of the uprising that toppled former leader Omar al-Bashir. The protests in the capital come 2 weeks after the military leaders who staged a coup last year signed an outline deal with political parties to relaunch a transition towards democratic elections with international support. The deal faces major challenges, including limited public backing for the civilian signatories and the deferral of contentious issues, including transitional justice and reform of the security forces, according to analysts. Demonstrators who called for civilian rule and justice over deaths during past protests gathered in their largest numbers for several months on Monday, marching to within 1.5 kilometers of the presidential palace. And to Iran, UN nuclear watchdog officials left Iran on Monday after talks with the head of its nuclear energy organization, the semi-official ISNA news agency reported, without saying whether they addressed an impasse over uranium traces at undeclared sites. The issue has been an obstacle to progress in wider talks to revive Iran's 2015 nuclear deal with major powers meant to curb its disputed uranium enrichment program in return for lifting sanctions imposed by Washington after exiting the pact in 2018. Talks to restore the nuclear accord have been at a stalemate since September. Western powers accuse the Islamic Republic of raising unreasonable demands after all sides appeared to be nearing a deal. And now to some reports from the world of sports. Brazil legend Ronaldo Luis Nazario de Lima has congratulated Lionel Messi following his World Cup victory in Qatar as Argentina defeated France on Sunday. Messi played a phenomenal role in a 6-goal thriller that ended a 3-3 draw after extra time as French forward Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick. The 35-year-old 7-time Ballon d'Or picked up the Golden Ball and the award for the tournament's best player after firing 7 goals, which he also became the first player to score in every round of the knockout since the tournament's expansion to 32 teams. In his congratulatory message on Twitter, Ronaldo, the star of Brazil's victory at the 2002 World Cup, described the Argentine skipper as a genius. And finally, Nigeria and Benin have submitted a joint bid to stage the Africa Cup of Nations in 2025, joining Algeria, Morocco, and Zambia in having expressed an interest in hosting the finals. 3-time African champions Nigeria are looking to stage for the 3rd time, having co-hosted with Ghana in 2000 after being the sole organizers in 1980. A top Nigerian Football Federation official said, having completed all the processes, Nigeria has submitted its bid before the Confederation of African Football. The NFF will be sharing more information on the bid to stage the tournament in the coming weeks. And that's about the size of the news tonight, but before we go, a recap of the highlights. Federal High Court has convicted Director General of Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council for money laundering. INEC is insisting that BVAS technology is fraud-proof. We told you on the foreign scene the Sudanese security forces have dispersed protesters in Khartoum. And that's the news at 6, as edited by Lawrence Sumoete. To listen to us online, please visit citizenfm.ng. I am Didi, and to stay with us. Super Citizen at Sunset continues in a bit.
Make we join our hearts to build a nation of our dream. Citizen FM. Your problem is my problem, and my joy is your joy. Citizen FM. Make we join our hearts to build a nation of our dream. Citizen FM. Yeah. Your problem is my problem, and my joy is your joy. Epa!
We teach girls shave. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born